Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Minecraft with Blender. Today we're going to be going over the second point of the Blender tutorial, and that point is how to navigate in Blender. As I may have previously mentioned, Blender is not an easy tool to use. It is very much not user-friendly. So today we're going to go over exactly how we are going to navigate around Blender and use it. So without further ado, smash that like and subscribe button, and let's get going. Okay guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do is open up Blender. And now begins stage 2 or step 2, going over how Blender works. And to start with that, I want to go over the controls of how to move around in Blender. And so, the first thing you're going to need to notice, it's going to be beneficial for you to have a mouse and a numpad. If you don't have either of those things, then Blender is probably not for you. Because to do Blender, you need to use the middle mouse button to rotate. And I know you could change that up in if you go into Edit and Preferences, but we'll look into that here in a second. But you're going to need to use a middle mouse and a numpad. You can change those keys to something else later on, but it'll be a little bit more complex if you do it that way. Anyway, so the way to move around the viewport in this way, by spinning your viewport on the selected item, which currently is that little target selector down there, is by holding middle mouse and moving your mouse. As you can see, it rotates. The next thing you can do is by pressing Shift and middle mouse, you can then drag your screen around, which is extremely useful. Then of course, if you use the scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out, and for some reason this does slow down the closer you get to an object. If you hold left click, you can drag boxes out to select things, or you can just select them. And if you do right click on something, like let's just say I have that selected, you can open up this menu here that can allow you to do things, like delete. And if you want to, you don't have to, but it's beneficial if you just delete all these things that you get in the way and they make light paths that don't need to be rendered. Okay, so once you get the basics of moving around in Blender, done. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. Okay, so a very, very important way to move around in Blender is by doing a keybind, which is Shift and Attila, which is kind of that squiggly line right underneath the exit key if you have a big keyboard. I'm not sure how it is on some other keyboards, I just know that's how it is most of the time. And so it'll actually launch you into fly mode, where you can use WASD to move around, and then also Q for down and E for up, and then spacebar for jump. But since there's no objects right now, you can't jump to anything, because you have to like jump to an object. And then also, if you press Shift, you can move faster. This is without Shift, this is with Shift. But yeah, that's how you move in the viewport. So, once you have that done, we can't actually add a Minecraft world into the viewport yet, and that will be step 3. So, what we need to do to finally finish setting up Blender here is to go into Edit, into Preferences, and if you want, you can put Autosave Preferences down here on this little 3 lines thing. Go into Add-ons, and then go into here, up in the search bar, and search MC Prep. You don't have to type it all the way out. It usually comes up pretty easy. But what you want to do is you want to check this box. And some of you may be saying right now, MC Prep isn't here. And if that's the case, you want to go up to Install, and you want to navigate to wherever you have your MC Prep. So like, let's just say in Downloads, I have my MC Prep add-on. You want to click that, and press Install add-on. But I already have it installed, as you can see, so I'm not going to install it again. Another thing we want to do is, if you have a graphics card, you want to go to the system, you'll usually have none selected, but go to CUDA or OptiX or HIP or one of these other ones. But I use CUDA because I have an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060. You can also select your processor, but I just use my graphics card because it's much faster. And that's all that we need to do in here. I think you can put you can change things with like key map to change key bindings, but unless you really want to do that, just don't go and do it. It's like a whole rabbit hole. But if you have autosave on, you can just save all those, and yeah. So, now that we've activated MC Prep. MC Prep is an add-on that allows us to use Minecraft stuff in Blender to make Minecraft add-on, or Minecraft animations specifically. So if you pull out this little tab here, and you can find it, there's like an arrow right there. If you grab it, pull it out, you don't have to make it very big. You can move down and select the MC Prep tab. And this has all of the good stuff that we need. So we need the skin swapper, the spawner, world tools, and world imports, which is the first one we're going to look at here. And so up here, we have the world exporter or importer. And you want to go up here, and usually it'll default to choose. And you can use JMC2 OBJ or Mineways, which is the one we're using. I know that JMC2 is better, I think. I just don't know how to use it yet. So I can make a video on that later if you guys want. But yeah, for now we're going to use Mineways. And this is where we need to switch off Blender real quick and go over to Mineways to import a world. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your downloads page. You're going to want to find Mineways, and it usually comes in a zip file. Let me open Mineways here. So you're going to want to double click on Mineways, and you're going to go until you can see all these files. You don't have to unzip the file. It's just not necessary. So I know for Windows, you generally go for exe. You just double click the exe file. I know sometimes on other different versions you can use the batch file, but I'm going to use the exe file. And it'll give you this thing. Just press run. And Windows doesn't like Mineways, but I promise it's completely safe, so just press more info and then run anyway. So what you're going to want to do is it'll open up this window here, and you can just go full screen so it'll be easier for us to see. So what you're going to want to do first is actually adjust these sliders. Actually, no, I don't think you can without a world. So you're going to go to File, Open World, and then select a world, because this automatically accesses your .minecraft save folders. And that is another thing. If you don't have Minecraft, it's going to be a little bit difficult to do this. So yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to want to go into the saves folder here and just select the world that you want to pull a section out of. So I'm going to grab, I don't know, I'm going to do aisle 1 here. And here we go. So you can zoom in and out with a scroll wheel. And again, you can, not that one. Left clicking will allow you to drag. And if you have a large world like this one, then it will be a little bit laggy. Because it has to render all of this. But, and right clicking will be selector, so you can select boxes. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go over here to this landmass here, and I'm going to say I want to make an animation in this area. And a thing to note about the sizes for these is that this is a relatively large map. As you can see, like those little blobs are trees, and they're fairly sized trees because they're custom trees. So what you're going to do is you can select ground, but depending on your hardware, is if you have good hardware like a nice graphics card, nice processor, don't worry about it. But if you don't, I'd recommend selecting a smaller space, kind of like maybe like this at the max. But if you have bigger hardware and you just want to be that much better than everybody else, you can select big spaces. It will, however, make your viewport a little bit laggy. So for my sakes, I have a decent hardware. I'm just going to grab that right there. That should be fine. So what we're going to do up here is adjust the height and depth, so you can change how high this goes, so you can make it so that I'm only capturing those pink areas, but you're going to want to make it so it goes decently far down. I'm going to say maybe 30-ish. And I will note that if you have lower end hardware, the higher you make this, the less work your computer does. Just FYI. Then of course you can just drag this down a little bit so it's not causing too much of an issue. Because you don't need to render air blocks, it's just not necessary. So just drag this down to like a reasonable height here. It's maybe like just 140 for me. You don't need to mess with that one really, but I'm just doing it right now because. So once you have your area selected and your height selected, what you're going to want to do now is go up into File and then Export for rendering. And so what you're going to do is you're going to navigate to wherever you want to drop this. I personally am going to drop this in a desktop folder I titled Minecraft Animations, and then to my OBJs folder. You can make a folder for this. It just makes it easier to drop stuff in for organization purposes. And no, this did not come with any of the things we downloaded, so you do have to make this by yourself. And so, important thing to remember, you can name this whatever you want. I'm just going to call it My World. But after you do whatever you're going to call it, you have to write in .obj, because it doesn't do it by itself, and it won't load up the next page, which you need if you don't. So press save, and then it'll load up this screen here. And don't mess with anything on the screen. It's perfectly fine the way it is. Just press OK, and this bar down here will show you how much rendering progress it has, and it's going to render it all out. And it could take a while, in theory. So just give it a minute. And now it's done. It'll give you this informational box here. Just press yes. And you're done with MindMaze, so you can close out of it. I'm also going to close out of that. So what you're going to do now is you're going to open up Blender. Alright? And now to import your world into into Blender, you're going to go into Open OBJ World Import. And so now, once you click that, and that, again, if you don't know what that is, it's inside this little tab thing on the tab for MC Prep. Under World Imports, which is the top one, so it's pretty easy to find. So what you're going to do is you're going to go, again, press OBJ World Import, navigate to wherever you have your OBJ. That's in my OBJs folder here. And let's say we got My World OBJ and My World MLT. What you're going to do is you're going to click My World OBJ, not this one, OBJ. And now you're going to press Import World. And this, depending on the size, could take any amount of time. And as you can see, mine loaded in pretty good, and it's a fair size of land here. And as you may notice, it is all white, and you cannot tell what is what, except maybe grass, kind of. So what you're going to do now is, while it's all selected, and just in case you unselected it, you can just press A to select everything. And that works with a bunch of other things that we might look at in the future. Once you have everything selected and you got all the stuff, now you can go up here onto World Tools and press Prep Materials. And that will, and you can just click this. And if you want to animate textures, like water, it'll animate, then you can use that. So press OK, and it'll load in. And since I animated textures, the water is gray until you go into this mode, and then it'll be not gray. And I forgot to mention stuff up here. These little things are the levels of rendering that your computer is doing. So if you have a low-end PC and you're doing it on a low-end PC, you're probably wanting to stay on this one right here, viewport shading. You can go down here, which just shows the wireframes, which is really hard to work with, so I wouldn't recommend it. Then this one's pretty nice. It's very basic. This one is like a little bit lighter, and it shows all the final textures. Especially if you have glossy objects, it'll show it in there. And then also in this one, it goes into rendered mode, and it's currently on Eevee, which is a rendering format, and we'll go over that when we get into rendering. But as we can see, this is probably the best one for us just to leave it on for now. I'm actually going to leave it on this one. No, it's easier to see. Okay, so we got there, and we got a world in here. Great. So we are now done with the second and third steps of this Blender tutorial. And if you noticed, I did actually do the second and third steps, which is I added the world in there for you guys as well. Because those steps don't take generally all that long. So yeah. In the next video, we're going to be going over both of the ways that you can turn the scene into like a nice viewable scene like this one. And yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, wait around. I will be releasing the next video very shortly. And yeah, see you guys all in the next one.